Good evening, Snooker World. This is the 36th episode of the 15 Red podcast on March the 27th, 2021. And tonight, joining me from Chester is Dylan Taylor. Good evening, Dylan.
Good evening, Mike, and good evening to everybody watching out there. And I'm sure we'll have a highly entertaining podcast.
We shall, yes. Tonight we're going to talk about the semi-final between Ronnie O'Sullivan and Barry Hawkins. So, you're good with that?
I am good with that, and I believe we shall also be talking about the upcoming final involving Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson, which I very much cannot wait to see.
Yes, we will do such thing. So, starting off, when you first saw this matchup, what was your thoughts initially?
Well, if you're talking about the semi-final, I mean,
semi-final.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when I looked at it, I have to be honest. I made Ronnie big favourite, and I even said to myself, with obviously no disrespect to Barry, but I think Ronnie, even if he played to half of his abilities, literally, he'll still win the match. So I think at the start of the match, I predicted like quite a comfortable, like a 10-6 victory or something like that. But then after I saw Barry grab those in the first two frames, he grabbed the back-to-back total clearances. That quickly skewed my thoughts, and I was like, "This could be a right tussle," you know. Yeah. So and I was like, it kept me hooked onto the match, and I was like, "Yeah, you just don't know which way it's going to turn, and you just gotta be aware of all of these twists and turns." And so yeah, what were your pre-thoughts regarding the match?
Pre-thought, I thought the same as you. I thought Ronnie, I had him at 10-6 as well. But yeah, I don't know. Hawkins and they played good matches, but the head-to-head would say that they're just not that close.
That is another good point. Yeah, I was just about to say what you did. Ronnie has a whopping 15-2, well 16-2 right now, but before the match 15-2 head-to-head over Barry. But then what you do have to bear in mind is that Hawkins has beaten him over a 3-session match, and at the biggest stage of all, at the World Championship in 2016, he beat him 13-12, despite the Rocket making, I think, 4 centuries that match or something. Yeah.
They also played earlier this year, I believe, at the Players Championship, which Ronnie beat Barry 6-4, and Barry again jumped out to the 3-0 lead, and then Ronnie did the same time. They played.
Yeah, and that was another event in this Kazoo series. I'm part of ITV.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. In fact, it's the one before this tour championship. We had the Players Championship. Yeah, and then Ronnie went on to lose to John Higgins. Yeah. But Barry, just speaking generally about Barry, because it's surprising, considering how good his Crucible record has been in recent times. I find it quite astonishing that he's actually dropped out of the top 16 earlier this season.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that.
So, I think his ranking at one point was as low as about 24th or something.
Yeah.
Which I find even more surprising. Like I thought he'd be at worst ranked 20 at worst, and because he's just and also considering the fact that there are players like Stuart Bingham and David Gilbert who are either dropped out of it or are close to dropping out of it, so that you think there's enough room for him to stay in there. Well, Tepshay I knew as well, but no, there wasn't enough room for him.
So the first session we had 8 frames, and Barry looked to be in fine form. Like you said, he had a 125 and a 138, and then Ronnie, after being down 0-3, just got a frame back. So the first 4 frames went to Barry. I think he deserved that on the run of play. You?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And well, that's I think that's quite possibly a fair thing to say. But we all know what Ronnie is like. Ronnie's the kind of player he could probably start a match. He could probably play a match easily, a mini session, be 4-0 down. He could probably not pot a single ball and then come out 20 minutes later and make three centuries in a row. That is what Ronnie is like. He basically just comes out of the dead, even if you've pushed him to one side.
So kind of what you said, after the interval, Ronnie come out after winning the last frame of the first 4. He then wins the next 3 of the second part and takes a 4-3 lead. And he has no real substantial break. He had no centuries in the match, and he had a 91, I believe, or 94, 91.
Yeah, something around that. Yeah, and yeah, well, it's just yeah, but what you also have to bear in mind, and people can't forget this, despite being the best break builder ever, well, in my opinion, Ronnie is also the best safety player ever. And I'm serious with that.
Yeah,
Maybe not the best safety player right now, but in terms of all time, like who's done this and how good his safety has got him. And I think the most notable match was the 2005 Masters final against John Higgins. He might have scored very well, but his safety in that game, it was so unreal to the point when John Higgins seriously asked, like, am I even playing a human or am I playing a computer? That's how good it was. The point is, Ronnie, his safety is just, it's very, very good. Well, maybe not very, very good right now, but it's still very good. And that is why he doesn't need these centuries and so forth to get those 3 frames which you just mentioned.
Fair enough. So at the end of the first session, 4-4 seemed to be about right.
I'd certainly say so. And in terms of the excitement and everything, it certainly offered a good degree of excitement with regards to the second session, which I was going to be watching anyway, regardless of the score. Even if it was 7-1 to O'Sullivan, I'd have certainly watched it. But no, 4-4 made it. Yeah. I think not only the fairest, but the most exciting scoreline to head into session 2.
One stat that really stood out for me after the first session was Barry Hawkins had a pot success rate of 97%. Ronnie was at 92% after the first 8 frames, but Barry was at 97% pot success.
And despite this, he doesn't even have a lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know, but I also remember from the first 2 frames and like the start of it, I think Ronnie didn't miss a ball or anything, but he like made some safety errors, which obviously meant Barry could come in and do his business and that, and it really makes sense. But and also Barry, I think that pot success, even at the end of the match, I expect it to be mid-90s, at least 94, I think, come the end of the match.
So frame 9 comes out and Ronnie wins that one, and he looks pretty good doing so. But once again, we have the swing again where Barry rips off the next 3 to take a 7-5 advantage.
Yeah, that is very true. And that is the second time in the match where Barry Hawkins wins 3 frames in succession, which against Ronnie takes an awful lot of doing. Yes. Even in a best of 19 match, to win 3 in a row twice against Ronnie, no, not even Judd Trump, he'd struggle to do that. Yep, but Barry did it not once but twice, and and at that point when he's 7-5 up, I think the bookies and a lot of people at home would have made him, even if not by much, but the favourite. 7-5 up. Yep. I certainly did. And
so after the third mini session, 7-5 for Barry and still potting 95%.
Yeah, I know.
And he had 3 centuries to Ronnie's 0.
Yeah, I know, and it really is amazing. Yeah, I know, but you always have to just remember a century, even if you make a 1-5-5 break or just a 1-4-7 break, that only wins you 1 frame. Yeah. So you have to remember that. So even if you make a classy century, you basically need to just get your head down and concentrate on not only the remainder of the match, but more importantly, the next frame, or to put it more briefly, just the next shot, and just take it one by one and don't take anything for granted.
So after the final interval, Ronnie comes out and makes it 7-6, and we start thinking, okay, here comes Ronnie O'Sullivan. Yeah. And once again, Barry Hawkins decides to win the next 2 to go up.
Yeah, I know. Not the next 3 this time, but to win the next 2.
Yep.
But the thing is, when I say it's not the next 3, if you think about it, looking at frame 16, it very nearly could have been the next 3, because in frame 16 he was 9-6 up and he was on about a 46 break or something, and then he misses a simple red. Yeah. He misses a simple red to the bottom right corner. He draws it, and then Ronnie. But we all know, everybody knows this, and people say it could have could have like it was sort of like match winning worthy standard, but that clearance in frame 16 was sublime.
Yeah, because he come to the table and he had reds on the cushion, and he had to work really hard to clear up from when he came to the table, like you say.
And
Sublime.
what else is highly relevant is the fact that he's been frozen for the best part of 3/4 of an hour.
Yes, that's true. He hadn't
Yeah.
putted a ball in, like when Barry won those 2 frames. He just didn't have
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
So
and yeah, no, he did have to pop those awkward ones, but the positioning and everything was really, really good.
yeah.
Really good. And yeah, I just but the thing is we all know Ronnie, and he's just simply so good at that kind of thing.
He has a very good sense of where he's got his opponent, because
Yeah.
if you compare his way of being in this match compared to when he was playing John Higgins, it seemed like it was much different tonight. Even when he was behind, he felt
Hmm.
you felt like he could come back and win. Where
Yeah.
again, John, it looked like he was struggling to get over the line.
Yeah, I
You know?
know. Well, I unfortunately didn't watch that match, but obviously I can believe what you're saying. And plus, I know I've seen those two tussle quite a few times before, so I know what it's like when those two are playing. But yeah, and but yeah, they're both very good scorers. They're both incredibly good at safety. In fact, safety would have to be the strongest area for John, I think. And yeah, Ronnie, it's right up there as well. But yeah, it was just simple as it was just a great battle by Ronnie. He just kept his concentration, kept doing this and this, and he got all the rewards for it. I
So,
know.
sorry. So after he makes that 71 clearance, he becomes within 1 frame. In frame 17, he makes a 90, and now
Yeah,
you're starting to think, all right, boy, this is going to be some kind of finish.
yep. And seriously speaking, at that point, despite being a frame down and only a frame away from defeat, I had to make Ronnie O'Sullivan favourite then. Because I
Really?
know, like, because Ronnie is the kind of player where, like, if you just get him on even just a bit of a roll, he will often extend that and make it a good, solid 4 or 5 frame streak or whatever. And he can, in that streak, he didn't do it this time, but he can easily make like century after century, and it's just, yeah, that's just basically Ronnie O'Sullivan written all over. And yeah, I think that it was a 90 break that frame, and the frame after was it like a 71 or something, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, 71 again.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
and that forced it to 9-9. And like you say, at this point, you don't favor Barry to come out ahead. Once
Yeah,
one level, it doesn't look good for him.
yeah,
So
it really doesn't look good for him. Yeah, and but he still has a reasonable chance because he's only 1 frame away from victory, just like Ronnie. And after all, and I'm just thinking, if you look at the sequence from the match, was there ever a stage before it was 9-6? Was there ever a stage when Ronnie won back-to-back frames?
yeah, he
Oh yeah,
won
yeah, at the start.
4 in a
Yeah,
row. He won the last
yeah,
frame of the first mini session and won 3 of the
yeah,
next, got 4-3.
yeah. So he
And
did win
he
4 in a
could
row.
have got 5-3, but that's a whole
Yeah.
different thing.
Yeah, and that's another thing actually. So Ronnie had actually two streaks, and in both of those streaks he won 4 frames in a row,
And one of
with
them was
the second streak being more notable.
correct, exactly right.
Yeah, I know, because it's basically like, yeah, he just of all the times to get a 4 frame winning streak, it has to be when he's 9-6 down in a best of 19.
But do you think that Barry must have some mental block, or Ronnie has just such a huge edge in Barry's mind? Because, like, in most of these matches, he's played actually very well, and you could argue today he might have even been the better player.
Yeah, I know. I just think Ronnie probably just because the thing is they're both veterans of the game. I think Barry turned pro in 96 and Ronnie in 92, so they've both been playing it for ages and they've played each other. This is the 18th time they've played each other, and that's including like Championship League matches, etc.
Yeah.
So they've played each other or not. They know they've each beaten each other. Ronnie much more so than vice versa. So yeah, you would have just I don't think like it was. I don't think there was like any new ground, to be honest. It was just basically doing the odd things, but you have to keep doing them and to a good standard at this level. And when like when you got this new tour championship, which if you look at it is arguably the second biggest tournament right now on the current calendar.
I believe it is. That's what they were talking about. I heard on the broadcast.
Yeah, and
Second
it's understandable because
on tour.
a lot of people do like the multi-session matches, or like all the way through. I mean,
Yeah.
and the only other tournament which does it pretty much all the way through is the World Championship. But we all know that is the biggest one anyway, so there's no
Yeah.
overlooking that. And obviously, take it back quite a few years ago, 10, 12 years ago, the UK Championship, even in around the round of 48 stage or the round of 32 stage, those first matches they would be have at least 2 sessions. They'd have two session matches all the way until the final, which would also be a 2 session match. So yeah, but that's been scrapped now. So it's good and refreshing to have it back to its old days in a new tournament, which is highly appreciated.
Yeah. So the decider, it wasn't an epic frame, but Ronnie still found a way to win. And
No, but the thing is, I think the main talking point about that decider, well, there are a few, but I think the main talking point is when Barry, so he had, was it like a yellow or something, and he could have
Yeah.
snookered it behind the brown, and he
Yes.
didn't snooker it behind the brown or something, and but he had a very good chance to, and the thing is, if he gets that snooker and leaves like the object ball a good 8 feet or so away from the cue ball, he has got a serious chance of getting 4 points there minimum. And
Yeah.
with those 4 points, he would have then been able to clear up and win the match. But
Yeah.
then that would have been a huge ask because he had a very awkward blue on the top right cushion, and he also had a fairly awkward pink and black.
Yeah. True
But
that.
but the thing is, he would have done the first step, and that was obviously to get the snooker. And to get the snooker against a player who knows the game as well as Ronnie is no mean feat.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I
So
know, but he couldn't quite do it. And another talking point about the decider, I'm going in reverse order here because I'm taking it back before that,
yeah.
is when Barry he largely overcut that black.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if he doesn't do that, then he could just land nicely on the reds, and then he could, even if he didn't clear, then he could have put himself in good control of the frame.
Yeah,
But the
absolutely.
thing is, you can argue Ronnie even before that, Ronnie missed like a fairly simple red on the
Yep.
near jaw. Yep, and if he doesn't do that, he can go and clear up and win the match right there as well. So all
Yeah.
of these things, they're all talking points which could go in a positive direction for either player. So at the end of it, it could all be justified.
Yeah. Agreed with you on that.
Yeah.
So Ronnie ends up winning what looks
Fine.
to be definitely a match of this tournament and one of the better ones this season. So
Absolutely. In fact, it's the first decider of this tournament, but that's not so surprising
no,
considering the fact that they're all best of 19s, and to get a decider in a best of 19 is even, yeah, especially when you only have about half a dozen games to have a decider. Yeah, it's tough going, but no, yeah, this match managed to get that far, and us viewers are ever so grateful that that was the case.
oh yeah. So Ronnie moves on to play Neil Robertson tomorrow in the final. What do you
Yeah.
expect?
Well, I think it'll be a really good final, and
Yep.
it's the kind of final where, well, at the very least, I think there'll be 16 frames. Is it a best of 19? I
Yeah,
believe, yeah,
all the
yeah,
way
best
through.
of 19.
Yep.
Yeah, all the way through. Yeah, and because that's not always been the case with this tour championship. I believe in 2019.
There's 17, and then they changed, and then the final was 19, but they changed it last year.
Yeah, and also in 2019 when Ronnie beat Robertson, wasn't that a best of 25?
Yes, it was before the
Yeah,
COVID.
no, that's what I
It
was
was
thinking as well. Yeah, best of 25. Yeah, and so they've changed it a few times, but to be honest, the best of 19 is definitely not bad for a final, and
oh,
I can definitely see either player winning. Because I
yep,
think in terms of who's played better this week, you'd have to go Robertson.
without
You
question.
also have to say Robertson has won the UK Championship this season, and Ronnie hasn't won anything. But Ronnie has reached, this is now his 5th ranking final he's reached this season, but he's lost all the previous 4. So
Correct.
he's getting far, and he's even got to an odd semi-final or two. So he's
Oh,
getting far, but he's not converting it into any silverware. But that could easily change tomorrow, because so if I'd have to pick a winner, yeah, it would certainly have to be Ronnie. But I think, it's really tough regarding the scoreline. But I'm going to say a narrow 10-8 victory to Ronnie. What about yourself?
me, I I actually think that Neil's been the better player on the week, and if Ronnie's going to win tomorrow, he will have to play better than he did today and he did against John. I think he will definitely have to do that, because today he won today, but was he the best player on the day? Well, you could debate that for a long time.
Well, either way, we can definitely establish Ronnie O'Sullivan today was about at tops 70% of his ability at max. At
Yeah.
top 70%, probably more like 60%. But
But
that goes back to my point, which I said.
I will take Ronnie to win tomorrow, but I think it's close. I think it's 10-8.
Yeah.
Something like that. I wouldn't be shocked if Neil beat him.
So we're in the same boat exactly.
We're in the same.
And we also agree. We also agree that Ronnie, if he is going to beat Neil, then he's going to have to either rely on a bad Neil Robertson or up his game from tonight.
But
the thing is, a bad Neil Robertson, considering how well Neil played against Mark Selby, a bad Neil Robertson is unlikely.
I agree with you 100%.
I know. So Ronnie's just got to work hard, and I think the areas looking at where he played today, he just needs to probably improve his break building, because like you mentioned, there was no centuries today.
That's very unusual for him to have a century in a 19-frame match.
Yeah, I know.
The
couple of memorable occasions where I remember he hasn't done that would be the 1997 UK Championship final against Hendry, despite winning 10-6, no centuries made.
Yeah,
and then in the 2014 Masters final, he described this match at the time as his best performance ever, and he beat Mark Selby 10-4. He made no centuries. But then, because you have to remember this, you could get a 70 break and it could do as much damage as a century could. Because think about it, either way, it wins you the frame. So yeah, in one visit. Well, like a century can give you more confidence and it looks statistically better. So yeah, I can understand the big appeal to centuries. And obviously there's always the lovely donations to the Jessie May the Jessie May Foundation, yeah. So yeah, there's that as well.
Also point out Ronnie's head record is 17-8 with one draw against Robinson for his career. So Ronnie's got a pretty decent advantage against him in head-to-heads. So
that is also very true. And 17-8, yeah, if you'd told me that beforehand, I'd have been rather surprised because but I think he has beaten him in a final or two. Pretty sure one was in a Grand Prix in Scotland or something, or one of them was in Scotland, but I'm not sure which one. But another startling fact you have to take notice of is the fact that Robertson has never defeated O'Sullivan over a match which has lasted at least 2 sessions. So stamina could well come into it. I know they played twice at the World Championship, which is obviously long format. Ronnie won both of those.
Yep.
And
sorry, go ahead.
No, don't. I'm trying to think of other matches which they played which have been more than one session. I'm trying to think. There's probably one or two which I'm missing. The Welsh Open final in 2016. And the thing is, Neil Robertson, I think he led 5-2 in that match, and he loses 9-5, like losing 7 in a row. Yeah, I'm not joking. So yeah, Ronnie, if he's probably got more stamina than Neil, but like you said, he's been playing worse this week than Neil. So all of these things can add up, and all of these things add up, and it can give you a formula for either player to be a winner tomorrow. It could just be who turns up.
The last match they played against each other was the 2019 Champion of Champions, which Neil won 6-5.
Yeah, so that was in the final stage.
Match was Neil Robertson, but overall is Ronnie.
Yeah, I know, and that match, I remember Neil went on to win that tournament as well, and he beat Judd in the decider of the final 10-9. So despite needing a snooker in the penultimate frame, Neil, believe me, Neil, people might look at the head-to-head and look at the multi-session fact and go, "Oh, Neil does not have that much chance," but those people are very wrong because he's got as much chance. Oh, he's got, I think, at least a 40% chance, and I'm serious. But
I would say
the bookies. I'm confident the bookies will make Ronnie favourite, but yeah. And another big fact you have to also note is the fact that Ronnie has only won one ranking event in about 2 years.
Yeah.
Although he did pick a good ranking event to win in that 2-year period.
Yes, the World Championships.
I know the Lade World Championship, and I know, and obviously gave him huge money. But in that 2-year period, he also won the Invitational Shanghai Masters, which
Uh,
is still a big event to win, but yeah, just no longer a ranking event, and
yeah.
wasn't at the time. Yeah,
And
no.
he's also been in 4 ranking event finals this year.
That is true. He lost. I'll go in order. He lost the Northern Ireland Open final to Judd 9-7.
Yeah.
He lost the Scottish Open final to Mark Selby. And I think it was like 9-3 or something.
Yeah,
He
9-3 is correct.
probably missing one out, but he lost the Welsh Open final to Jordan Brown 9-8, and then he lost the most recently, as we mentioned, the Players Championship final to John Higgins 10-3. And that interesting fact, I believe that's Ronnie's biggest defeat in a best of 19 match. So yeah, or heaviest defeat would be a better way of putting it.
I think he's going to be good to go tomorrow, but
yeah,
we just hope a great match like what we saw tonight.
Yeah, and we also, I think maybe you could his good form could maybe explained if he's doing less running, because I know it was like come the UK Championship time when he lost early on to Alexander Erzenbacher in the round of 64. He announced, I think he announced around then that he was doing a lot of running, and in this case too much, like 10 miles or something too much, and that meant when he came to the UK Championship he was literally physically knackered, which contributed to his early defeat.
All right. Well,
yeah, I know.
So there we go. That is a wrap. Any final comments before we sign off?
Well, we've gone with predictions and everything, and I'm trying to think if there's any other comments we could add, but
I think we're good.
no. Well, if Robertson wins, it'll be his 20th ranking event. Ronnie wins, it'll be his 38th ranking event. But no, I don't have any more additional comments, and thank you for having me on this lovely podcast.
No problem. Thanks very much, Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the end of episode 36, and this is Dylan signing out in Chester.
Yeah.
This is Mike out in Vancouver. Good night, guys. Peace.